Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. The Nigerian army says its troops have successfully foiled an attack by Boko Haram insurgents in the Yauri community in the outskirts of Maiduguri City, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. During the encounter, the army killed 5 of the insurgents while also recovering several arms and ammunition. The Boko Haram insurgency has raged on in Nigeria's northeast for about 7 years now. The group, whose name means Western education is forbidden, has killed more than 20,000 people and displaced more than 2.1 million others. However, in the past few months, the military has succeeded in beating back the Islamic sect and reducing the amount of suicide attacks on civilians in the northeast. The federal government has commenced the feeding of repentant Boko Haram members as part of their rehabilitation process. According to a statement issued on Tuesday by Sani Dati, who is the spokesman of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, the agency presented food and non-food items to 800 surrendered Boko Haram insurgents. NEMA said the initiative allowed those engaged in the fighting to willingly surrender and embrace peace so that they can undergo rehabilitation. As part of efforts to end recurring attacks on oil and gas facilities in the Niger Delta region, the Nigerian government has resumed cash payments to former militants. Priye Kiyarmo, who is the Amnesty Program's media advisor, said that the payments resumed on Monday. In February this year, Nigeria stopped the payments for former militants who agreed under a 2009 Amnesty Program to stop blowing up crude pipelines in exchange for cash. However, militants in the Niger Delta region began attacking oil and gas pipelines regularly. The attacks called the country's crude production, which stood at 2.2 million barrels per day at the start of 2016, to around 700,000 barrels per day. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed says the administration's change agenda is real and irreversible, despite the contempt of the agenda by those opposed to it. He was speaking at the federal government's town hall meeting in Enugu State, southeast Nigeria. Mohammed noted that even as change is a process, it has begun to manifest in many ways, especially in the areas of the war against corruption, accountability in governance, and the economy. The minister said that emphasis is fast shifting from oil as the administration moves to diversify the Nigerian economy. Other ministers who were present at the town hall meeting are the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, the Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachiko, and the Minister of State for Environment, Ibrahim Usman Jibril. Still on the town hall meeting, Lai Mohammed also explained the reason behind the meetings held across the country by the federal government. He said the town hall meeting will provide an avenue for both the government and the governed to exchange ideas, fostering good governance. Mohammed said each part of the country has its unique and peculiar challenges, and that sustained engagement through the town hall meetings will provide the platform to correct some of the misconceptions and throw more light on government policies and programs. Togo President Faure Gnassingbé has arrived Lagos, southwest Nigeria on an official working visit to the state. The president was received by the governor of Lagos State, Akinwumi Ambode, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, the president of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, and some businessmen. He held talks with the Lagos State governor and visited the Dangote Refinery in the state. Now, the Dangote Refinery, which is located at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, is designed to produce 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode says the Dangote Refinery is another confirmation that Lagos is a prime investment destination. Governor Ambode, who spoke during an extensive inspection tour of the Dangote Refinery by the Togolese president, said the project will positively change the face of oil and gas business in the West African region. Ambode also noted that the refinery will help in the creation of jobs while also solving the fuel supply challenge in the West African region. The governor expressed satisfaction with the level of work done on the project so far, saying that he was happy that a lot of progress had been made. Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, said commended Dangote for his massive investments in the country. Abdulmumun Jibrin, who is the former chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation, has appeared before the disciplinary panel of the All Progressives Congress APC. Jibrin's appearance comes after a letter signed by Lawal Shuaibu, who is the Deputy National Chairman North, summoned him to the panel. In the letter written to Jibrin, the national leadership of the APC said Jibrin has brought dishonor to the party due to the public nature of his allegations on budget padding. Jibrin started slamming allegations of corruption against the House Speaker Dogara and other members of the House leadership when he was removed as the chairman of the Appropriations Committee last month. On Monday this week, he reported the budget padding scandal to Nigeria's major anti-corruption agencies. About 2 months ago, the price of tomato went through the roof in markets across Nigeria. The reason was because an outbreak of a disease known as tomato blight led to a scarcity of the staple fruit in the country. Now, at that time, many Nigerians were unable to afford it. Now, fast forward to 2 months later, the reverse is the case. A basket of tomatoes that sold for as much as 42,000 naira in May this year now sells for as low as 800 naira in the northern part of the country. Sellers who were once complaining of scarcity are now complaining of surplus of tomatoes in the market. Our correspondent Tunji Olanikbekun visited the Mile 12 market in Lagos. He now reports.
Between March and early June, hardly do 10 trucks of tomatoes get to this market in a week. An outbreak of a disease called tomato Ebola wiped out several large tomato farms across the country. Worst hit was the north, where the bulk of the tomatoes consumed in the country is grown. It's a different story now at the Mile 12 market. An average of 8 to 10 trucks offload tomatoes here daily. In fact, some even struggle to find space to offload their content because everywhere is choked with tomatoes.
About 2 months ago, there is scarcity of tomatoes across the country and Nigerians are really complaining about it. Now, a basket of tomato like this then sells for between 17 to 20,000 naira. But today the story has changed totally. This basket of tomato now sells for between 2,500 and 3,000. What a good news.
It's good news for consumers, but not everyone is happy about the development. This man says most of the tomatoes are imported from neighboring countries and the crash in price means the loss of revenue for local farmers.
We want the Nigerian government to help us to stop importation of tomato, Ghana tomato, Sierra Leone tomato, Benin Republic. We Nigerian government tell us to embark or invest in farming, and they are not encouraging us because at the time of our harvesting, we don't see the gain.
Shehu Usman is the secretary of Mile 12 Food Market. He explains the bilateral agreement between the market authorities and their counterparts in neighboring countries.
We give priority to our farmers in Nigeria. Priority in the sense that we ask everybody to bring from Nigeria. That's anywhere we have tomato. For instance, the tomato we have right now is one that is coming from Udoba, Ilaro, from the southern state of the country. So all those tomatoes are from Nigeria. We don't have northern tomato now. So what we do is, look, if you are bringing from Nigeria, bring it at will. Just bring it to the market. Bring as much trailers as possible. Once you have tomato and you are willing to bring it to Mile 12 market, bring it. And in fairness, the tomato of Cameroon is more quality than that of Benin Republic and Nigerian, the one from the south.
Without proper storage facilities, most of the tomatoes here would simply rot away if they were not sold very quickly. Experts say government intervention in the preservation of the commodity in time of surplus like this will help the country to avoid another round of scarcity in the event of another outbreak of tomato disease. Tunji Olanikbekun, TV360, Lagos.
President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed 17 new chief executives for various parastatals and agencies under the Federal Ministry of Education. The ministry released a statement saying, The ministry released a statement saying that the appointment was with immediate effect. Among the agencies affected are the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board (JAMB), the Universal Basic Education Commission, and the National Executives Universities Commission. Others are the National Library of Nigeria, the National Examinations Council, and the Nomadic Education Commission, among others. Health officials in Nigeria have emphasized the need for nursing mothers and caregivers to cultivate the habit of infant and young child breastfeeding. Rilwanu Mohammed, who is the Chief Executive Secretary of the Abuja Primary Health Care Board, said the habit will help combat malnutrition and other related conditions that lead to increasing rates of infant and young child morbidity. He was speaking at the commemoration of the 2016 World Breastfeeding Week in Abuja.
Breast milk is free. It's the first immunization of a child. You don't need to go to market and buy breast milk. Mothers should breastfeed their children, and then exclusively for 6 months. There will be no diarrhea. There will be no, the children will not fall sick, and it is better for the country.
The breast milk contains all the water that is needed by the baby. As we heard earlier on, the breast milk contains almost 92% of water. So why are you giving water to that baby? I just want to quickly say at this point in time that exclusive breastfeeding is so important that this has been taken up by every country. And as we are celebrating this World Breastfeeding Week in Nigeria, over 170 other countries are also celebrating the World Breastfeeding Week. This all happens every year from the 1st of August to the 7th of August. And that is to tell you that indeed the world looks up onto mothers to completely give breast milk to their children, as I said, from the age of 0 to 6 months of life.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, says she inherited about 293 billion naira outstanding workers' claims on assumption of office in October 2015. While speaking with the press in Abuja as part of activities to mark this year's Civil Service Week, she said the federal government was doing everything possible to ensure payment of the allowances to the beneficiaries. She stated that her office was working with the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation on a phased payment formula that would be concluded in due course. Oyoita added that measures were being put in place to ensure that at the point of entry, civil servants go through induction courses as it is done in the military and some other organizations. As part of the activities to mark this week, President Buhari is expected to recognize some civil servants for their service to the country. Members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria say the report released by a panel on its clash with the Nigerian army is biased and full of distortions. A new report released by the Kaduna State government said the Shiite sect was responsible for last year's deadly clash with the Nigerian army. The Judicial Commission of Inquiry, however, recommended that an Army General Adeniyi Oyebade and other members of the Nigerian army be prosecuted for the killing of the Shia Muslims in Zaria, northern Kaduna State. According to the report, over 389 Shiite members were killed during the clash. Reacting to the report, spokesman for the Shiites Ibrahim Musa said the failure of the commission to visit its leader El Zakzaki to state his own side of the story during the sit-ins or visit him in Abuja, where he is being detained by the DSS for the past 7 months now, clearly shows that the panel was not fair to the movement from the beginning. The group insisted that up to 800 of their members had gone missing since the day of the clashes and haven't been accounted for. The army has said the Shiites had blocked its chief of staff to Buratai and tried to unsuccessfully assassinate him, an allegation they have since denied. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at business and international stories. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. 2 of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so... Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which game was with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. The Naira rose to 310 against the United States dollars at the parallel market on Tuesday. The Naira has been under persistent pressure as dollar scarcity continues to weigh on the local currency at both the parallel and interbank forex markets. Economic and financial experts said inadequate forex liquidity at the interbank market was taking a toll on the parallel market. Analysts had predicted that the Naira would weaken further against the dollar this week, owing to limited dollar supply. Foreign investors have also continued to stay on the sidelines, waiting until the Nigerian economy showed signs of recovering from the impact of currency controls. Now, still on business stories now, Nigeria plans to raise about 245.18 billion naira worth of treasury bills, with maturity ranging between 3 months and a year on August 3rd. Traders revealed this on Tuesday, citing a CBN treasury bill calendar. CBN plans to issue 45.15 billion naira in 3-month debt, 80 billion naira of 6-month paper, and 120 billion naira of 1-year bills in a Dutch auction. The auction results will be published the day after the sales. Still on business stories now, oil prices edged up on Tuesday after U.S. crude broke about below $40 per barrel. U.S. crude was at $40.21 per barrel, while international Brent crude oil futures were trading at $42.33 per barrel. Despite the slightly higher prices on Tuesday, oil market data implies bearish market conditions. Industry data shows that the global oil rig count for new production edged up in June for the first time this year. U.S. planes bombed Islamic State targets in Libya, responding to the UN-backed government's request to help push the militants from their former stronghold of Sirte. The first airstrikes were carried out at specific locations, causing severe losses to enemy ranks. This will be the third U.S. airstrike against Islamic State militants in Libya. But U.S. officials said this will mark the start of a sustained air campaign rather than another isolated strike. The United Nations on Tuesday said about 60,000 people have fled South Sudan since violence escalated over the past 3 weeks. The refugee arm of the agency, UNHCR, said the refugees headed to neighboring Uganda, Sudan, and Kenya. The latest crisis in the young country began when troops loyal to President Salva Kiir and longtime rival Riek Machar clashed in the capital of Juba, leaving over 300 people dead. On Monday this week, Lam Ako, who is South Sudan's agriculture minister, an opposition figure, resigned, saying a peace deal designed to heal the troubled nation was dead, while calling for President Kiir's unity government to leave power. Machar, who is the former vice president, returned to the capital of Juba in April this year after a shaky peace deal, but left again last month when new clashes broke out. Kiir replaced Machar as vice president last week with Taban Dengai after Machar ignored his request to return to Juba. On the sporting scene now, Nigerian Sports Minister Solomon Dalong has threatened to sanction the coaching crew of the under-23 national team for speaking to the media about the team's current condition. The Dream Team 6 are currently still in the United States after failing to get a flight to Rio, Brazil. The players were originally scheduled to fly out of Atlanta, USA for Rio on Friday, but till now they are still in the United States. Coach Samson Siase had spoken out against the Nigerian Football Federation over their inability to pay him his salary. Siase said his side was yet to receive any allowances in the past 5 months. Now Solomon Dalong has threatened to sanction the coach and has ordered the team captain to restore sanity to the team. The USA team, gunning for their 3rd straight Olympic basketball gold medal, wrapped up their pre-summer Games exhibition series with a dominating win over Nigeria on Monday night. The team beat Nigeria 110 to 66 points. Nigeria's the Tigers will be appearing at their 2nd Olympic Games after the first showing at the London 2012 Olympics. They qualified as African champions after defeating Angola in the final of African Basketball Nations Cup. In an attempt to beef up security in the coming Olympic and Paralympic Games, the state of Rio will deploy nearly 14,000 security officers. Military Police General Commander Edison Duarte said authorities plan to deploy more officers to the Tiuca area and neighborhood where most of the Olympic arenas are located. The contingent will be part of the 85,000 security officers that have been deployed to the city. The 27th Olympic Games starts in Rio on August 5th and will run until August 21st, 2016. Well, that's all we have on News Now. We thank you very much for joining us. I am Thelma Okoro.